All right, let's talk some Tennessee, Arkansas, as we are a day away, 2 days away, depending on when you're watching this, before Tennessee's revenge game against Bobby Petrino and the Razorbacks. You hear this word thrown around a lot, this phrase thrown around a lot, but a must-win for Tennessee and Josh Heupel if they want to continue their ascension as a program and, make plans for the playoff. John Reed, Zack Elliott here to talk about it. Zach, what are the vibes like when you look at this Arkansas Razorbacks team and Bobby Petrino coming in as the first game of his renaissance? Because I feel like that, to me, is the biggest storyline on Arkansas side.
It is. And, we saw last week that I guess the new offensive coordinator, new head coach bump that UCLA got. Now, listen, this is not UCLA. I don't think Bobby Petrino is liked to the levels that Jerry Neuheisel was liked at UCLA. I think that plays a big difference. The buy-in for Bobby Petrino, I think, is a lot less, seems like, than what it was for Sam Pittman, maybe. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, my whole question is, when I look at this Arkansas team, because they looked like a team that had quit against Notre Dame.
Yep.
That was a team that already wasn't very good, that was already pretty bad at defense, as you saw in the second half of the Memphis game. Against Notre Dame, it looked like they completely let go of the rope. It looked like they had completely quit. The offense played okay at the beginning of the game, but the defense just got shredded the entire game. I don't know if cleaning house and firing the coordinator and firing the head coach, I don't know if that's going to get more buy-in from this team with these players who, quite frankly, A, have no allegiance to Bobby Petrino, and B, just might not be any good. So for me, it's hard to forecast. Like, offensively, I think Arkansas is going to pull out some stops. Like, you hear the kitchen sink game phrase thrown around a lot. Like, I think Bobby Petrino, he's been waiting for this moment to get, back on that motorcycle and drive this program. He's going to have some trick plays. He's going to have some fake punts. He's going to be aggressive. He's going to try to go out there and put his stamp on an offense that is pretty talented. That this offense was, a couple of plays away from beating Ole Miss. It was a couple plays away from beating Memphis. Like, it's not a bad offense. Taylor Green's a good quarterback. I think they're going to put up some points. I think they're going to be aggressive. I think they're going to be desperate. I just can't figure out what this defense is going to look like, because, like I said, they looked like they had completely quit against Notre Dame. Why would the bye week and a Bobby Petrino
not going to fix your defense?
Why would it? And it might, because, like you said, UCLA, I thought they played great on offense under Neuheisel. I thought Nico looked great, but at the same time, I thought their defense at least showed some resistance, especially, in the first half where they give up only 7 points. And at the end of the game, getting that goal line stand, or at least the red zone stand, to get out of there with a 7-point victory. So the defense clearly got a little bit of a boost from the switch. So maybe Arkansas is the same way. I just don't know if there's any talent there or enough talent there to survive coming in and playing against a Tennessee offense that is humming and hopefully getting healthy. Like, to me, from an Arkansas standpoint, Zach, Bobby Petrino is storyline number one. From a Tennessee standpoint, I think I look at this game and, some of you might say revenge is the biggest thing. For me, it's really just about Tennessee's health.
Yep.
I think you get Jackson Moy back another week. I know he played against Mississippi State, but another week where he can kind of be back there. You get David Hobbs. So your defensive line is coming into place of what you kind of envision for it. No Jeremiah McCoy just yet. Hopefully he'll be back on the field at some point. But on the offensive side of the ball, you've been pretty healthy for the most part, except on your offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're going to get a big talent upgrade by having David Sanders out there. I expect Tennessee to go back to their starting lineup that they kind of had penciled in before the season.
Yeah.
And have Sanders and Perry there on the right side of the line. Get Perry switches to guard. You get Sanders out there at tackle, and then you have your most talented and your best five out there. So, I think Tennessee's offense should be humming in this game against Arkansas.
Absolutely. Well, and you can't really say enough about the job the offensive line did without David Sanders. I mean, they played very well. They didn't allow, really, I don't remember any sacks at all until Mississippi State, if I recall correctly. So I think, yeah, getting your best five is always, that's what you want. You want your best guys out there on the field. Get healthy, stay healthy, most importantly, going into Alabama next week. And go out there and put some points on the board against a defense that, like we said, is lackluster at best. I don't think that's going to magically change coming into Neyland Stadium. So get out there, play your best game, put some points on the board, get some style points up, see where you're at going into Alabama next week.
68.5 is the over-under, the total for this Tennessee-Arkansas game. It's basically a projected game of 42-28 is kind of where you're looking at there, give or take a couple half points here and there because it's 68.5 and it's 12.5/13 on the point spread. But basically 42-28. 42, it feels good to be back to where that's kind of your expectation. This Tennessee offense hasn't gotten a lot of respect for much of the last year and a half. Now, look, don't get me wrong. I know Arkansas's defense has a lot to do with that, but also for Tennessee's kind of baseline to be 42 points, that makes me feel good about the job that Joey, and Josh have done this season so far.
Yep, it feels good because last year you stumbled just trying to score at all in the first half, and now you're back to, like you said, a baseline low 40s, high 40s game. That's excellent. You got to maintain it against these harder opponents, and that is what it is. It's going to wash out. But it does feel very good that is your baseline once again.
You score 38, in regulation against Georgia. The offense, you could say, was a little stuck in the mud. It felt like against Mississippi State. You never felt like you got out, and was humming by any means.
You shot yourself in the foot a lot, though.
You shot yourself in the foot. No, you 100%. The refs didn't help you on Chris Brazel's long touchdown. Of course, we know that should have been a touchdown.
Mike Matthews
dropping the ball. Yep. So you are right. You did shoot yourself in the foot, but that's part of getting stuck in the mud. That's part of not necessarily firing on all cylinders. And quite frankly, for as good as Tennessee was overall in the Georgia game, I think you lost that game. Well, because you missed a field goal, but because you didn't really score in the second or third quarter.
Right. Took two quarters off.
Yeah, you took 2 quarters off, give or take until the last, I think, final, 10 seconds of the third quarter where Brazel.
You hit the bomb.
Yep, you hit the bomb there and get back, rolling. But I think I would like to see just an overall performance, a flex, if you will, from this offense because right now you have one of, if not the best trio of wide receivers in the SEC.
Yep.
I don't know who would really even, compare to Tennessee's trio when you look at Brazel, Matthews, and Staley. I think your two-headed monster at running back isn't.
It's clear to Midland.
It's not quite elite level, but I give them a solid B+.
Yep.
I won't give them an A, but they are good enough. They are still good. And, yeah, like I said, the offensive line has been really good, and it should be getting better. So
it's exciting.
Yeah, the offense should be back to where you expect them to come out and pretty much move the ball at will. Not saying you necessarily have to score on every drive, but against Arkansas, it does feel like, Zach, to me, that if Tennessee has 9 or 10 possessions, I should score on 8 of them.
Yeah, 8 or 9 at least.
Yeah, maybe not a touchdown on every one of them. Maybe a couple of them are field goals. But if Tennessee got stopped more than 3 times in this game, I would come out of it feeling pretty worried, or at least pretty disappointed, or maybe not fulfilled. Maybe worried's too strong of a word, but that's kind of where I'm at when I'm looking at this Arkansas game.
I would like to see, we talk about the 3-headed monster at wide receiver. I would like to see Kitzelman get a little bit more involved. Because I think when you can start to get the tight end, you see it, not to go to the Shield, but you see it with the Chiefs all the time. When you get Kelce involved, it opens those other guys up. Now, obviously, Miles Kitzelman is not Travis Kelce. Not saying he is.
He's more of a Gronk, when you see him out there.
But get him involved to where, it's something else to worry about.
No, in the middle of the field, the wide receivers have done a pretty good job of getting to the middle of the field. Chris Brazel has kind of brought that back on the table. Staley's good at those drag routes and, the crossing routes. So, If the receivers weren't carrying their weight across the middle of the field, I'd be a little bit more worried about it. But I will say Kitzelman to me has been the one, I don't want to say red flag because that's too strong, but the one kind of.
Hadn't been what you expected, I don't
Yeah,
think.
the one kind of disappointment. And even that feels a little strong. And I know he's been dealing with, some injuries this offseason, trying to get up to speed. But, like, if he's dealt with a couple drops. I think back to that Georgia, the final drive of regulation on second down, he has a drop, against Mississippi State. I give him one of Joey's interceptions in that game. The second one, I kind of blame on Joey slash a missed pass interference. Like, but the first one, like Kitzelman, that's a pass he's got to catch.
Yep.
Like, especially if he's going to be one of the leaders of your team. And on one hand, I called him disappointing. On the other hand, it maybe is more of a testament just to how good your wide receivers have been that you haven't necessarily had to feed him, because I think we thought coming into it that like he was your most established pass catcher, right? Like he was your returning guy that was bringing the most experience, or at least the most like stable, calming hands, like you talked about. Yeah. So
it is nice to have the three guys. Obviously, like anybody in their country would take a Brazel, Matthews, Staley trio. Like anyone's taking that. Doesn't matter who it is. I just figured, and the health is a big thing too. Like you got to be healthy. But I'd like to see him get more involved, especially going towards, the Alabama game and further on.
If he can become a matchup problem and somebody, 10 yards down the field, 5 to 10 yards down the field is consistently catching and getting a little bit after the catch, like this offense could go up a level. That's the big thing is like this offense is good. It's really good. I think it's better than any of us hoped it would be under Joey Aguilar. But if you get David Sanders out there healthy and all of a sudden you get a Miles Kitzelman that's playing consistent and catching the ball, I do think this offense can still go up a level. And not to overlook Arkansas, but you're going to need to go up a level to beat Alabama on the road. And I do feel good about Tennessee's position right now. But this is a game that, Tennessee has hopefully had circled.
Yeah. Don't go play with your food.
Right. It's one of those that hopefully you have circled. Like they embarrassed you last year. That defense, which kind of sucked last year, held you to 14 points and beat you. Now, obviously, the pieces are all different, or at least some of the key pieces are different. So, but I still hope Tennessee and the players that are left over have this game circled. Don't take it lightly, and really are thirsty for blood.
Right.
Like, I hope that they come out wanting to beat a team like Josh Heupel did in 2021, against the South Carolinas and the Missouris of the world. Just go out and take care of business and dominate.
Yeah. That's what we all want. But if you got, I'm going to ask you this, if you get a 38, 21, 28, 24 win, obviously you take it because it's a win in the SEC. What is your thought process coming out of a game, just kind of not a bad game, but just kind of a nasty, hey, we probably should have put up, 10, 14 more points?
Well, I'll answer it in two different ways. If it's a 28-24 game, I'd be very worried about the offense.
Absolutely.
Like, if it was a close game in general, and let's just say the score's even higher, I'd be worried about the team. If this game is a one-score game, then it would change how I viewed the team in the sense of A, not having championship focus, but B, just maybe not being as good as we thought they have been, and maybe that we think that they are. Because
I don't see it.
in my mind, I'm already like thinking about just the Georgia game. That was a real blown opportunity, man. Like you should have won.
Should be undefeated.
Game. You should be undefeated. You should
top 3 team.
You should be. But also, like, you lost to a Georgia team, and I don't know how good Georgia actually is. Yeah. And I could say that about any team in the conference.
Sure.
Like, I just said it about Tennessee. I still feel that way about Alabama. I'm not quite sure how good they are.
Yeah, exactly. We talked about transitive property a couple of weeks ago. That was a big word that got thrown around, and now it just seems like with Georgia, either you could say Tennessee beat themselves, Georgia beat them, whatever, but then Georgia goes home and gets beat by Alabama pretty convincingly. So it's like
gets beat in the first half convincingly. I can't say I came out of that game feeling like it was convincingly, just because I feel like Georgia kind of blew some opportunities.
They did, absolutely did.
But like in the first half, Alabama 100% punched them in the mouth, and Georgia definitely didn't like flex its muscles in the second half. But I didn't feel like Alabama did either, which is why I said, like, I'm not sure how good
Who
any
knows?
of these teams are.
Yeah.
Like, and Tennessee's in there. Like, Ole Miss is in there. Texas A&M's in there. You know,
Right now, though, and it could change in a week.
that is the beautiful thing about the SEC so far this year is that every week, and this might sound like a no-duh situation or a no-duh statement, but, like, every week truly feels like it matters. Like, it's kind of a shaking of a snow globe, and the pieces fall in different places. And, oh, this team was actually impressive. Maybe they're a little bit better. Or, oh, yep, thought that team was fraudulent. They lost. Now
Turns
I'm
out they
convinced
are.
there. Yeah, so, like
a Texas team.
Sure. Like, I mean, yeah, Texas and Florida, they shook up the snow globe last week. Same way as Alabama and Missouri will. Like, whoever wins that game is going to feel like we are at the top of the conference. Whoever loses it is going to have some real doubts about themselves. Like, if Alabama loses at Missouri, that, to me,
opens it up.
And it also cancels out what you did to Georgia.
Yep.
If Missouri loses their first test of the season to Alabama, even if it's close, I'm going to feel like, a really good team would have won that game.
Yep.
Same as Oklahoma, Texas. Like, it's kind of Texas's last call. They should be the desperate team. Oklahoma's a little, banged up at quarterback. We'll see if Mateer plays, but we're going to think drastically different about both of those teams, Texas and Oklahoma, coming out of that game. Same as Alabama, same as Missouri. For Tennessee, you said it, survive. And yeah, that's ultimately all that matters because winning games in the SEC still carries weight.
Yep.
But for me and my comfort and my perception,
you got to go win it and convincingly.
You win it convincingly, and the offense clicks, and the offense scores 52 points, and the defense, doesn't give up 40. Like, I'll lock in a 52-35 win. Like, that's good enough for me.
Garbage time touchdown late.
Even if it's just Tennessee scoring a touchdown late. But if you tell me Tennessee scores 52, then I can overlook some of the defensive concerns, especially until, Jamad McCoy is either back on the field or officially ruled out for the season. How do you feel? Let us know in the comments if you're still tapped in. We appreciate you. Comment on this video if you want to be a part of the Fan Run special October giveaway. We're giving away a big old box.
Box of stuff.
And a box of stuff, but the box is just kind of a concept. We're giving away stuff so big that it doesn't even fit in the box. Maybe a new car or a new boat. We're not doing those, but we are giving away thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars worth of stuff. So
good opportunity.
If you want it, if you want to be entered into it, we're doing a giveaway on Halloween. Comment below, and I will get you an entry in the box. We're just going to randomly draw it. The more entries you have, obviously, the better chances you have to win. Zach, any final thoughts on Tennessee, Arkansas?
Go make a statement, man. You lost to them last year. We lost to them back in the Butch era. Go make a statement. Get these guys out of here.
Appreciate everyone watching along. If you're watching this on Thursday, make plans to hang out with us on Facebook on Friday at 2:30. And then on Saturday, we will be doing a live watch-along of this Arkansas-Tennessee game that we're talking about on our YouTube page, Fan Run TV, Fan Run Sports. Just search it on the bar. It'll pull up. Subscribe. Lock in. We'll go live around 4 o'clock. So hang out with us. We'll be doing some giveaways, hanging out, make plans. Zach, appreciate you, brother.
Absolutely, John. It's always a pleasure.
Talk to you then.
Have a good one. See y'all.